I think, so growing up, I was on a street that had kids and older adults, and we were, again, very connected. Like I could go to a neighbor's house and hang out. My mom always knew that I was safe and protected. So I think being in a small knit community has helped shape my morals and my values and things like that, and allowed connections. I think that's why we have had such a great experience when we had some of those tough times, because of such a small knit community. People know you in some capacity, or know somebody maybe that's experienced something you've experienced. So the community really comes together when those things happen. So I think that's been one of the nicest things.
Well, you're the newbie to the county. So
I'm the only one who hasn't lived here my whole life. I moved from the GTA 15 years ago when we got married, and I like it. It's just, I mean, it's definitely a calmer experience than being in the GTA. I don't miss that at all. We're close enough to Kingston to have anything that we want to be able to.
Where we are, it's in the middle of nowhere, but close to everywhere.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Oh my goodness, a lot of outdoor adventures, canoeing, camping.
Camping was the biggest one that probably got all of us.
Outdoor activities in general.
You're right in your own backyard.
There was baseball with these guys that we had to do.
Oh, yeah,
and the school being just up the road. And so, really, really tight knit is probably the best way to say that. We're the whole community itself, which I think one of the reasons why we decided to do the Haunted Day was to give back to the community that accepted us.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of an interesting situation too, because I'm a teacher and I teach at Odessa. So we bought this house in 2003 and I got a teaching job at Odessa Public School that year. So my kids go to Odessa, I work at Odessa. The community in Wilton is unbelievable. We know all of our neighbors. There's tons of kids that run around the village. It's usually quiet except for on Sundays when it's Cheese Factory Day. It's the gong show.
Well, I found that it was a really tight-knit family community, and it was great for the kids to grow up there. Like 2 doors down, we had a family that I actually worked with the guy, and his kids are the same age as mine, and it's just nice to have that close community down there.
Yeah, and they've made friends that they still hang out with. They still talk to since COVID. But yeah.
I think kind of we get the best of both. We get the slower, small town feeling with the tighter community, but we're like a stone throw away from Kingston, and so you get like the downtown, like you get to go out to the nice restaurants for a special dinner, the festivals and stuff that go on. But there's so much going on in even Loyalist here. If you different Facebook groups and stuff that you follow along, you can find it. We go to McKinnon a lot. That's why we chose that for photos. And we do the farmers market in Bath sometimes. And there's just lots to do. And so, as I said, you kind of get that small town, slower life feel, but you get to dabble in the other stuff too.
Small town, you know everybody when you grew up. Still keep in touch with a lot of friends in the county.
And going to school here, right? I mean, NDSS is a sort of a focal point for education in the county for us in Napanee anyway. There's other high schools, but it's kind of neat that still having friends that we went to high school with. Our daughter's a teacher at the school now. Our granddaughter's going to be going there in another couple of years.
Yes.
Ooh, I would say just that. Because we're rural living at its best, I feel, but also with the access, with our location, we're able to really take part in Ontario as a whole. And that's been really special to us. We are generally very busy in the summer with the farm and all year round. But when we do take our short vacations or spend our time outside of our own farm in LA County, because of its vicinity and its relation to proximity, and its relation to Toronto and to Montreal, we really are able to be cosmopolitan in our tripping, but not be too far from home. And that would only be able to be possible for a dairy family if we had this location.
Yeah.
So that's been really special for us because we both love to expose the girls to a lot. And I think that museums and sort of multicultural experiences that we would like them to have are more accessible in those big cities. So we're really grateful for the location of our farm so that we can do those things and still be home for supper in a way.
It's just a really great place to raise a young family, and just the community feel. A town where we know people, people know us. It's just a safe place for our kids to grow up and feel supported. But there's also great opportunities here. I feel like the opportunities that we have for small business and stuff like that, and just the way that the community all supports each other, I feel like you can really feel that here.
I think we're lucky to be able to raise our family with that small town feel where everybody kind of knows everybody, good or bad, I guess sometimes. But yeah, and that you feel safe in knowing whether or not, when your kids go to school, that she's going to school with families that you have known their family background for years. And you know what I mean? I find LNA County is very generational, and people stay here for a long time, and families kind of from generation to generation form friendships that kind of go on through the generations.
First of all, we were so thrilled that LNA naturally. We're like, oh my gosh. It just hit us to the core, right then and there. We just love that it says so much. And I mean, once you start discovering Lennox and Addington, I'm like, oh my gosh, there is so much nature. And as a beekeeper, the flora diversity between the edge of Lake Ontario and Pass Bon Echo is incredible. There is few counties have the flora as well as I would imagine the fauna from a bird, specifically bird, the diversity that is seen in Lennox and Addington. I mean, you go from the sandy area, the sandy shore of Lake Ontario into limestone, into farmland, into then Canadian Shield.
Yeah.
You go from flat to the mountains, really. It's incredible. The flora is, and there's a dark sky. There's a dark sky. They're almost non-existent. There's two, I think, in Lennox and Addington. No, it's the